Hi Bobcats, this is Miss Lee, and today's video lesson is on dividing fractions. Please make sure that you have your notes and you fill them out as we go along in the video. If you don't have your notes, make sure you have paper to take notes on. Now in our previous lesson, we learned about what a reciprocal is. And today we're going to learn how we're going to use the reciprocal to divide fractions. Dividing by a fraction is equivalent to multiplying by its reciprocal. So if we need to divide by a fraction, we just rewrite the expression as multiplying by its reciprocal. Take a look at the example. 1/5 divided by 1/4. We're going to rewrite this expression as multiplication, and we're going to multiply 1/5 times the reciprocal of 1/4. And we know to write the reciprocal, we just flip it upside down. Instead of 1/4, it becomes 4/1. And then you have a multiplication problem, which we've been working with multiplying fractions, so that should be pretty easy. Multiply the numerators, 1 times 4 is 4. Multiply the denominators, 5 times 1 is 5. So your answer is 4/5. So 1/5 divided by 1/4 equals 4/5. Now, you see these letters, L, C, R. These three letters are going to match up with the three parts of our division problem to help remind us that we need to rewrite and change the problem to multiplication. So the L, and you need to write this down, stands for leave. The L goes with the first fraction, which is the dividend. We're going to leave it alone. As you can see, we did over here. We didn't do anything to it, we just rewrote it. The C stands for change. So the C goes under the division symbol, and we're going to change that to multiplication. And then the R stands for reciprocal. That means we want to write the reciprocal of the divisor. Instead of 1/4, we flip it upside down and write 4/1. Leave, change, reciprocal. Three important letters to remember when dividing with fractions. So let's get into it and just do some examples. 9/10 divided by 2/5. So what I would like to see is that everybody writes the letters L, C, R, and then you need to rewrite the expression. We're going to leave the 9/10 alone. We're going to change the division to multiplication, and we're going to write the reciprocal of 2/5. We're going to flip it upside down, and it's going to be 5/2. And now we just multiply like normal. Multiply your numerators. 9 times 5 is 45. Multiply the denominators. 10 times 2 is 20. But we're not done, because we need to simplify. As always simplify your fraction answers. I can tell 5 is a common factor, so I'm going to divide both by 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9. 20 divided by 5 is 4. And this is as simplified as you can get. So if you're going to leave your answer improper, this would be correct. You could also change it back to a mixed number. Do your T-bow, top in, bottom out. 4 goes into 9 2 whole times, which is 8, and it leaves you a remainder of 1. So this is the same as saying 2 wholes and 1 remainder out of 4. 2 1/4 would be the mixed number. Okay, let's try the next one. Again, the first thing you want to do is write your three letters, L, C, R. And now let's rewrite our expression. L stands for leave it alone. 4/3 is going to stay 4/3. Change, C is for change the division to multiplication. And R is for reciprocal. Flip that fraction upside down, it becomes 4/1. Now we have a multiplication problem. Multiply the numerators. 4 times 4 is 16. Multiply the denominators. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 is not a factor of 16, so our improper fraction is simplified. Now we can do our T-bow and change it to a mixed number, top in, bottom out. 3 goes into 16 5 whole times, which is 15. My pen's not working really good. And I have a 1 remainder. So my improper fraction would be 5 and 1/3. I'm sorry, my mixed number would be 5 and 1/3. Okay, our next example. In this problem, we have a whole number being divided by a fraction. And just like with multiplication, if you're wanting to divide and you have whole numbers, you have to put them in fraction form. So we have a quick little step of putting that. Okay, now that we have a fraction divided by a fraction, we're going to go ahead and do our LCR. Always write those 3 letters. L stands for leave it alone. 10 over 1 is going to remain 10 over 1. C stands for change the division to what? Multiplication. And R is for reciprocal. Flip this fraction upside down and it becomes 5 over 2. And now multiply. 10 times 5 is 50. 1 times 2 is 2. And simplify. 2 is a factor of 50, so when I divide both by 2, I get 25 over 1, and we still need to simplify. This becomes 25 whole. It's not so bad. It's just like multiplying, you just have one additional step, and you have to do leave, change, reciprocal, and rewrite that expression. Turn that into a multiplication problem. Let's see what else we have. Which of the following expressions is equivalent to 3/5 divided by 9/10? Okay, so F is still a division problem, but what did they do here? They flipped the first fraction, right? That changes the number. 5/3 is not the same as 3/5. That's changing the dividend amount, the amount you're splitting up. So F cannot be an answer. Okay, what did G do? G's changed it to multiplication, so it says 3/5 multiplied by, and instead of 9/10, they flipped it and said 10 over 9. Well, is that the same thing as doing LCR, leave, change, reciprocal? Leave the 3/5 alone. Yep. Change the division to multiplication. Yep. And the reciprocal of 9/10 is 10 over 9. Yep. So this is our answer. Look at the other ones and let's see what's wrong with them. So this one, it flipped both of the fractions, didn't it? It wrote the reciprocal of 3/5. So it flipped both of the fractions, which in a division problem you would want to do for the divisor, but you don't want to do that with the dividend. And not only that, but they didn't change the division, did they? So it's definitely not H. And so we have 3/5 times 9/10. So they did change it. They did the C right. They changed the division to multiplication. They left the first fraction alone, but they forgot to write the reciprocal. They kept it as 9/10 when they should have written it as 10 over 9. All right, Jack wants to divide a 3/4 pound box of trail mix into small bags. If Jack is able to fill 9 bags, how much trail mix will each bag hold? Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to write our expression. Okay, when we write our expression and its division, the amount that we're splitting up, our dividend, always goes first. Okay, so the numbers we have are 3/4 and we have 9. Most of us want to put 9 first because it's the bigger number, but that's not how it works with the fractions. We have to, are we splitting up 9 bags, or are we splitting up the 3/4 pound box of trail mix? We're splitting up the trail mix, right? It's the 3/4 we're splitting up, so that's what goes first. 3/4 divided by 9. And again, everything has to be in fraction form, so I'm going to go ahead and put my 9 over 1. Okay, now we're ready to solve it. Division problem, we have to do our LCR. Rewrite the expression, 3/4, we leave it alone. Change our division to multiplication. I'm going to use the dot this time. And what is the reciprocal of 9 over 1? 1 over 9. Now let's multiply. Multiply your numerators. 3 times 1 is 3. Multiply the denominators. 4 times 9 is 36. And 3 is a factor of 36, so I'm going to divide both numerator and denominator by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 36 divided by 3 is 12. And that is our answer. You can write a quick little answer statement. Each bag, the question is, how much trail mix will each bag hold? Each will hold 1/12, and we're talking about pounds. 1/12 pound of trail mix. Well, there we go. Alrighty. Ooh, this is a challenge. The following fraction division is being performed using multiplication by the reciprocal. Find the missing values. So we start with a division problem, and it turns into a multiplication problem, and then we have an answer. All right, well, we know, what do we always do when we want to do division? What's the first 3 things we write? LCR. So this is where we change our problem into a multiplication problem. But we've got some missing numbers here that we need to figure out. So let's take a look. If we're going to do LCR, we're going to leave the first fraction alone. Okay, so we've done that. We're going to change the division to multiplication. That's been done. And then we're going to flip this fraction and write its reciprocal. So right now it's 1 over something we don't know, 1 over a box. If we flip it, the box goes on top and the 1 goes below it. So take a look here. Well, the box is now on the bottom. What should be in the box? The 1. And in the top we have the 4, so if the 4 is on the top, that means it was on the bottom over here, wasn't it? If it was 1/4, and then we write the reciprocal, we flip it, it becomes 4 over 1. Okay, let's see if we can come up with the answer. Let's do our multiplication. 3 times 4 is 12. 8 times 1 is 8. Now, that's not the same here. This has a 2 as a denominator. So what do you think they did? They probably simplified, right? Let's simplify. What is the common factor of 12 and 8? 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So even using our LCR, we can complete the challenge problem. Good job. All right, this is your check for understanding. It's the first problem of your homework. You need to make sure that you complete this problem, check to see that you got your answer correct. If you did, move on and start your homework. If you did not, look over it, see what you did wrong. If you still don't understand, see your teacher. Trent paints 1/6 of the fence surrounding his farm each day. How many days will it take him to paint 3/4 of the fence? All right, good luck.